Care Manager with APA Insurance, joined by my colleagues today, Justus Munene and Zaina Bokelo. I'd like to introduce our speaker for the day. We are humbled and privileged to be joined by Professor Catherine Gachutha. Professor Catherine holds a counseling doctorate from the University of South Africa, Vansud, Africa. She's one of the pioneers of counseling in Kenya. She's currently the chairperson of Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association. She is also the author of Management of Counselor Burnout, a counselor supervisor's handbook, and on parenting. She's a researcher, an author, as we earlier said, and educationist with 25 years of practice. Welcome, Professor Catherine. We are humbled to have you for today's webinar.
Thank you so much. I can see sign up. Let me. Right, sign up. You want to continue or you want me to pick it up?
Can pick it up, Professor.
All right, and I am going to be sharing. So that we can be able to move together. I am very appreciative of the opportunity to be able to share with you at APA about becoming friends with your children. This is going to be a parenting presentation. Just like the introduction has gone, I am Catherine Gachutha and a counseling psychologist. I have written a book on effective parenting in the 21st century. And I'm saying that raising children has never been easy. And I imagine it's not easy for you, but it is even harder now in the 21st century. And what is it going to profit you to make all the money there is to make and build palatial homes in exclusive enclaves and drive the latest serves, because we love to do that, and lose our children through irresponsible upbringing? It is important to reflect on that, because there are many times that we don't prioritize our children, and we may prioritize only our careers. And we understand the reason as to why we prioritize our careers, because we need a livelihood. And if you don't take care of your livelihood, even that is going to affect you and affect your parenting. But when children are asked questions, they say, with the best of vehicles, but there is something that they crave for a lot, and that is a union and a connection with their parents, because that connection then is ingrained in their brain, and they are able to develop what we call the mental attachment models, the way to they are able to relate with themselves and also relate with the world around them, and even relate with other people, for them to be able to survive and also to be successful in a very challenging world. When you're talking about becoming friends with your children, we are referring to different forms of parents, and it's important for you to appreciate what kind of a parent am I, so that you can be able to put the ingredients that are going to make that kind of parenting to work for you. Some of you are biological parents. you have given birth to the child that you are parenting, and therefore this is your child, this is your blood child. But some of you may not be parenting a child that you have given birth to. It may be a foster child that you are parenting. A foster child is a child who is given to your custody, not by law, but by choice, by convenience, that you're going to be bringing up that particular child. And then we have the adoptive parenthood, where now legally the child becomes yours by choice. You are the one who is entering into a legal arrangement that all things pertaining to that child, you are going to be the one who is going to be the primary guardian and parent to provide for that child. But you also may be parenting as a single parent, maybe because of death of the other parent, or because of separation or divorce, or a pregnancy happened, and there has never been a time that you thought you needed to parent with the father of the child. All those situations happen. But for you, you are not in the, you may not be in the situation of the teenage parenthood, but it happens. But we may be having grandparents still raising their grandchildren among some of us. Or maybe you have seen that happening a lot. And in all those kind of parenthoods, we need to realize that we are bringing up an individual who needs to be grounded and who needs to survive and who needs to be effective and who needs to be well connected to themselves and connected to other people and connected to the world as it is, whether it is a world of work or the world of entertainment or the world of farming or whatever it is, the different aspects of the world, that you as a parent, when you are a good friend, then you're going to see the need of exposing your child to the different forums or the different aspects of life, as it were. You cannot say, because I am a foster parent, I'm going to do quota of being a friend or quota of parenting, because then you're going to be damaging the particular child that you're going to be parenting. And we need to see this because we have a lot of mental health challenges among us children that we never used to have before in the 20th century, where children used to be parented by aunties, by uncles, even by the community. The community used to take care. You go out there and you are misbehaving, for some of us that are much older, and you're going to be disciplined by a member in the community, not because of malice or wanting to destroy or to hurt that child, but feeling responsible that this child should not be behaving in the way he or she is behaving. That communal parenting used to make everyone to feel in charge, that this child needs to grow up, and there were conventional values and beliefs around children and children growing up and children becoming successful in particular ways within particular communities. But now we are much more fragmented in a conventional world, in a modern world, in a postmodern world. We are more fragmented, and parenting becomes very individualistic in the way it is performed. And we come with common misconceptions about parenting. And all of us, we have, if you look at yourself, if you examine yourself, you might want to look at some of the misconceptions that are coming from experiences that you may have gone through, so that we can be able to ask ourselves, whether those misconceptions are hurting our parenting or they are actually adding value to our parenting, because parenting is like a calling. And even where you have misgivings as a parent, you need to make sure that you come into terms, with whatever misgivings you may be having regarding your parenting, so that you can resolve that. You may be having misgivings because you got that child out of rape, or because the father of the children or the mother of your children is not behaving in ways that are unifying your parenting. And this is challenging. And you know, children growing up does not have a repeat. It cannot be repeated. Where we go wrong cannot be repeated. Where we didn't become good friends cannot be repeated. And therefore, it is upon us to know that we need to resolve very quickly any misgivings that we have in relationship to our children, so that we don't put deposits in our children that are going to make them less of humans, that is going to make them less effective, that is going to make them inadequate individuals, that is going to make them abusers and persecutors of others, like what we are seeing in the media, like the issue of the Shaka horror. Is there an issue in the parenting of some of those characters that we are reading about? You may be saying, in terms of misconceptions, the way I was brought up was okay, so I can bring up my children in exactly the same way. But saying that you're going to bring up your children in exactly the same way is not about being a friend to your children. It is actually about being careless about the way we are parenting our children, because how scientific is it that when you give love of this measure, that this love is not going to destroy this child, so that this child is going to be expecting to be loved without loving others, because this child was given a lot of love. Or even withdrawing love and saying, if you love a child too much, then this child is going to be destroyed. Yes, whatever you are saying is true, that there should be some form of regulation that is scientific. Another misconception is no one can tell me what to do. I can do what I want. And we have seen even parents killing their children because they can do what they want. But the physical killing is one way. How many of us have killed our children relationally, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, intellectually, all those aspects, because there are many deaths that happen to children. We only realize the physical death, but we do not realize those other multiple deaths that we commit to our children, and we have no apologies for it. You may be saying, I know my children best and I decide the things they can or cannot do, but it's important to recline back and ask yourself, am I right, or do I need to observe more? Giving children the best of everything and all they want means that you love them and they are happy. That can be a misconception, because you are bribing your children by giving them what you imagine is all they require. But maybe you need a mentor and you need a coach, and we need to visit counselors and psychologists much more, so that they can evaluate our children, so that they can tell us at this developmental stage at 11, when they are in puberty, getting to adolescence, what is it that I need to tighten more? And what is it that I need to loosen more? And what is it that I need to introduce, so that this child is going to be well-rounded? What does best mean? We all pride ourselves with best, that I know I am the best of parents. But we may need to ask ourselves what that best means, so that we can be able to respond appropriately to what is required within the parenting arrangement. Giving my children all the freedom they want is best, so that they can choose whatever they want to do, and is empowering for them. But haven't we seen danger in allowing loose? Because if that particular individual is going to get married, no one will stop them from coming in the wee hours of the morning. It is their freedom, and no one can regulate it, because they learned to have freedom that is limitless. We need to bring up our children as friends, helping them to know that the world actually limits us to a particular extent. And the way the world is how we need to learn how to parent our children. But what other incorrect beliefs do we hold as parents? You may want to note down that. What other incorrect beliefs that we hold as parents, because they can be many. Now, we are bringing up our children to be techno-savvy, to be very efficient when it comes to technology. And a research that was done in Michigan University indicated that parents are very concerned that health issues may impact their children because of technology. Because technology can expose them either to cyberbullying or to bullying, and because children are limited, they do not have the resources and the capacity to be able to handle the bullying, and to be able to handle the rejection, and to be able to handle the stress that comes with not getting recognized in a negative way, then they can get affected. 34% of children, they get bullied. It can be cyberbullying, and that affects them. And 30% talked about the internet safety. How safe is internet for the children? So they were concerned. 28% were concerned about the stress issues, motor vehicle accidents that come from technology, school violence that again comes from the projections, depression at 22%, unhealthy eating as they are watching and using technology, not enough exercise because they are just seated, drug abuse that comes from what they see and what gets advertised, and even the texting, the sexting, the exposure of sexual activities by technology. Positive parenting makes you to be a friend of your child. You know your boundaries very well. You're using warmth. You're using love and respect and consistency, and you are firm where you need to be firm. If you're telling a child they are not going to take more ice cream, then you need to be very firm concerning that. There is good communication.
Daktari, I'm not sure if we've lost you. Professor, I think we have lost you. You can hear me? Our audience, give us a minute so that we try to reach the doctor again.
Sorry, I had muted without realizing, Justice.
It's okay. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
Justice, sorry, Justice, I had muted.
It's fine. Welcome
Sorry.
back.
Okay. Right. I was talking about positive parenting and where you have to be a friend to your child, communicating, understanding. Because when we talk about empathy, it's about understanding, putting yourself in the shoes of a child who is crying, and you're asking the child, tell me, what is hurting you? And what can you do at this point? Because you'd want to help the child to be taking responsibility of their own lives. We have seen children where, let alone, they are not able to take responsibility of what they think and how they process information, even what they feel, and even what they do. And you'd want, from the time a child is very small, that you don't do everything for them, you even don't do the thinking for them, that you'd want to ask them how they can handle particular situations. And it is only where you see there is a boundary where they cannot be able to do certain things for themselves, that you come in and you walk them through that particular journey, and you still leave them to know that they are the ones that are supposed to be in charge. And it is beautiful to be in charge of their own emotions, of their own thinking, of their own actions, all the works that they need to take responsibility. You as a parent, as a good friend, you role model, you are walking the talk. What do we speak so loudly to our children? Or what do we speak? What we do, our own actions, they speak so loudly to our children and they cannot hear what we are saying. If you are smoking and you're drinking and you're telling your children that drinking and smoking is not okay, then they hear much more of what they see rather than what you are telling them. The Bible says, and I imagine even the Quran, and for the ones that are Hindus or other faiths, they have similar verses that train up a child in the way he should go. And even when he's going to be very old, he will not depart from it. In the Christian Bible, that is Proverbs 22 and verse 6. You have a curriculum, and I ask in the book that I have written on effective parenting in the 21st century, I ask the question, do you have the curriculum of parenting your children? Because the beautiful thing about a curriculum is you can be able to refer and see whether a topic was well covered, whether a topic of sexuality was well covered or it was not well covered, whether a topic of gender, you are a girl, you are a boy, whether that topic was well covered or it was not well covered. A topic of emotions, whether it was well covered or it was not well covered. A topic of life skills and values, whether it was well covered or not well covered. Did you cover efficiently how they need to treat others? The Shaka Horror issue gives us an illustration of a child who is now an adult, who knows what wealth I need in the world, but get other people to die. Meaning that I am good and I should be protected and I am important, but for others, people can be damaged and they can be hurt for days, address until they die. And if they are not dying quickly, we can help them to die actually. So what kind of training is that? Because this particular individual is just is having a model inside his own brain that people are not important and people can be treated in whichever way that you want to treat them. But when you train a child in ways that they can respect themselves and respect other people and be able to take care of their health, you're telling them their emotional and mental health is important. Even if they deviate and they go to king, or even they go to sexual behaviors that are very erratic, they will come out of those ways and get back to what you taught them. Because in their model of parenting, they understand whatever they are doing is not correct. Even now as an adult, you know what your parents taught you, that you go against and you're guilty about it because you know it's not okay. So the radion call is do the best you is holding for your children so that even when they are going to be very old, they are going to be responsible individuals. When we think about the process of parenting, you are very delighted when you have a new one, or when a new one is on the way. But sometimes we are not delighted all the way through in a life cycle of parenting. But what is the current state of your children or your child? My child does not know how to regulate emotions, gets erratically angry, or fear, even at night shouts in the middle of the night and says, "Mom, come," or "Dad, come." So you know there are parenting activities in there that you need to write down. It is important to write them down because you reflect. And it is important to have a parenting journal where you are working with the child in a life cycle until that time that the child is big enough to take responsibility. Even when they get there, they still need you because they're getting their own children and you're somehow helping them to be able to walk that journey also of parenting their own children. I remember generating own children who are now 27 and 28 when they were 8 and 9 years. And I can literally be able to see the journey even now because still track down how they are. And when it comes to how are they relating? How is my daughter, 28 years, who is married and has a child, 8 months, and is that okay? When she mistreats the house girls are going to mistreat her child because her, as a banker, needs to go and work. And therefore, I am interested to see, and I was getting excited at how she treats her house girls as the child parenting. There is a target state in a life cycle. You are raising your children to be capable children and leaving a legacy. You'd want to leave a legacy. You'd want to give them a mantle that they are going to give to their own children, and that mantle is going to be given forward. In the Holy Scriptures, I see a situation where we are even taken to generations and generations and generation to where Jesus Christ started, who are his grandparents and great-grandparents. And we need to see our process in that particular way, where we are doing the best we can in the situation in our own children, so that even them, they will be friends with their own children. Your child is like a growing seedling. I am showing you now a seedling on your, and every parent longs for a seedling that looks healthy, for a seedling that is going to produce mega produce. And that is what you would want. Whether your child is a worker in workplace, how does it with other workers? Is this a child who is likely to be promoted, or a child who is likely to remain in the same position, even if they went to international or national schools, simply because they lack skills of living? So like a seedling, you're putting the best in terms of the nutrients that are required. When we are parenting and we are good friends to our children, you need to be mindful of the nutrients that you're giving to your children. Is it love? Is it availability? Children crave for availability. I'm having a 63-year-old whom I am taking for counseling, and this 63-year-old is bringing issues of when he was growing up. And he says that he never became a friend to his mother. The father was not there. He was working away from home, but he expected mom to be there and to have an emotional connection with him, but he never got that because mom was a farmer and mom was a business person, and therefore she hardly was at home. They were brought up by their cousins, and they never learned how to communicate love. They never learned how to have connections that are healthy. And today, own wife is walking away from him and saying, you do not connect with us and we don't feel loved by you. And he says, how do you want me to love you? I go to the kitchen and I cook for you, because they learned how to cook when they were very small. And the wife says, I can cook for myself if I want, but I'm needing you to be close to me. I am needing you to connect with me. I am needing you to have energy for me. I am needing you to have energy for the children. This is the time that he's saying, I need to mine the energies that somehow were buried within me. When I was a little child and was institutionalized by being taken to schools when I was very young, I need to mine, I need to pour out, I need to look for what was lost at that particular time. What else can we compare our children with? We can compare them to when a chef is preparing a cake, and there are different ingredients that the chef is going to have, whether it's going to be vinegar, or it's going to be unga, or it's going to be bluebird, or it's going to be sugar. But all those ingredients are important for the chef. And if the chef is going to mix those ingredients in proportions that are not well balanced, the cake is not going to come out well cooked. The cake is going to come out badly cooked, or it will not cook completely because you did not mix the ingredients very well. For your 9-year-old, for your 13-year-old, for your 18-year-old, for your 23-year-old, for your 30-year-old, what are the ingredients that you keep mixing at different developmental stages so that this child can come out as an efficient child? Again, what can we compare parenting with? We can compare parenting with an airplane when it is taking off from the runway. And when it is taking off, the engineers on the ground will say, this airplane has safety enough to lift itself from the ground and hang into the air and retain itself in the air. When your children goes to boarding school, because they have completed maybe their primary school, they have gone to junior high school, or they are going to the other level, are they able to clean their clothes? Are they able to relate with others in ways that they can become good friends and those friends can give them survival? Are they able to choose good friends, or they keep on choosing friends that harm them, that hurt them, that get them into rebellion and truancy? Are they able to read by themselves and concentrate by themselves? Are they able to communicate when they are not feeling well? Are they able to handle their life business? A lady, a psychologist called Susan Gilmore, says that every individual needs to know how to transact life business in 3 dimensions of being human. Number one, staying with yourself and not molesting yourself. That is your own aloneness. And number two, she says that you need to know how to relate with other people. And number three, that you need to know how to work. So she says there are 3 businesses of human beings developmentally, from one developmental stage to the other, that we need to transact with very, very well and to come out success-free in regard to how we do it. So you can see where your child is going to fail. If they are going to have a takeoff, this child who is getting married and does not know how to cook, she is a girl and she's getting married, she is going to have a tragedy light ahead of her. This boy of yours who is just about to get married and is very excited about how they are going to do the dance as they are entering into the church and getting out of the church, and has not learned how to love and how to care and how to provide leadership and how to provide and how to be there for others, will have a tragedy light ahead of them. Loving them is telling them they are not ready for marriage until they are ready in particular areas of their lives. You know, Taylor Hanson says, having a baby is a life changer. It gives you a whole other perspective on why you wake up every day. It's a life changer. It makes you responsible. It makes you have a responsibility that you didn't have before. It makes you get super excited about getting involved in creation by God, you creating a child of your own as a steward on behalf of God to take care of that child. So it gives you a whole other perspective on why you wake up every day. You wake up every day because you'd want to have a difference or to make a difference in your children's life. But what kind of style do you use when you're parenting your children? Is it a permissive one, where you're always responding to your child and you do not demand? Are you authoritarian, highly demanding, and not responsive? And so your child is asking, Mom, why are you so hard? Why are you always too commanding and too controlling? Why can't you balance? Uninvolved, you are never there. You even feel that you are disconnected. You are the pop kind of a parent. And then authoritative is where you need to be. You demand and you're firm and you're also responsive. And what about your spouse? because both of you need to be responsive to this creature who needs to shape their life's direction. So the differing parenting styles causes conflict in your marital relationship. Don't be happy because you're getting your way in parenting and your spouse is allowing you to do whatever you want because you cannot be told. Because it is not you are parenting. You are parenting your child, and you need to parent your child in harmony with other people. What about if you died today? Are you going to do the good things that you imagine that you do? You're going to leave the child in the hands of others. You'd better learn, because we do not know about our life tomorrow. You'd better learn how to mutually parent your child. And love means you can give way for the other parent. You can deal with your resentment. Even when you're doing the co-parenting, you can deal with your own resentment, and you can join together with the other parent for the purpose of the friend that you are in relationship to your children, so that you don't cause confusion. Find your middle ground with your spouse, no matter how erratic they are. Children are the ones that are going to say, Mom never take me to Dad again, or Dad never take me to Mom again. Parent me, I will see her when I am much older. Parent me, I will see him when I'm much older. I don't think that Dad is healthy. I don't think that Mom is a healthy parent. They are the ones that are going to be able to determine, because you have helped them to be able to communicate what is not okay. An authoritative parent is nurturing, affective, or affectionate, non-punitive, discipline through guidance. You have a protocol. Like, for example, if a child is insulting others, you sit down and you say, what are the dangers of insulting others? To yourself and to others and to your future. Let's look at it. And so the child is able to say, and you are adding more depending on the developmental stage of the child. And you say, what do you want to become? A more responsible individual. Then if you want to become that, then this is what you need to do. Exactly what you have said. Open communication with your child, becoming friends so that they can chart their own direction and become stable, energetic, and powerful individuals in their own life. Authoritarian parents are strict, they are inflexible, they have high expectations, they have no secrets. Children say, I don't want to tell Mom anything, I don't want to tell Dad everything. He's going to tell everyone. High supervision, and they expect obedience all the time. And then we have the permissive parent who parents the way they want, nurturing, affectionate, feel, and inconsistent boundaries, and takes the role of a friend. I am talking about the negative friend here rather than a parent, because at the end of the day, you are not your child's friend. You are your child's parent. And therefore this friendship, because we say me and my children are friends, this friendship is one where you are able to be on the same page with the child. That is what it means. Then we have the uninvolved parent. Are you that uninvolved parent? Did you get injured in the course of your growing up? That is why you behave in this way in your parenting. You are emotionally detached, you are self-absorbed, you are inconsistent, and you have no boundaries, and you have very slight interactions. I just want to read out for you this activity, and you can do it in the course of the day. How do children turn out eventually when they are parented by parents with these styles? Whether authoritative, yule who is balanced, na yule mwingine who is so authoritarian, yeye kusema na watoto kufanya, or the one who is permissive, hardly cares, And the one who is neglectful, you can even abandon and you're not present and all that. In your parenting, you need to be balanced, really balanced. And in the phases of parenting, if you're parenting a child from when they are small to 6 years, you are the commander-in-chief of your children. You are the one who says, but that needs to change when they get to 7 to 12, because now you need to be a coach. You're teaching skills. You are embedding values and beliefs. You are helping them to think better. You are helping them to take responsibility. And then you can become a counselor when they are in the ages of 13. That is when they don't want to be told. They say, I know. So the question to ask them is, how do you know? So that you can walk together. You can be together. And if they're asking a question like the one I am seeing in the chat, like, how do we help them to handle technology? And how do we help them to handle, how do we handle teenage girls who are silent in their character or moody and get angered in small things, or they are too much attached to an absent father in every aspect? Now, you are a counselor at this time, you are listening to them, this absent father. Tell me, what are you missing about him? And the child is going to tell you what they are missing about him. What would you want to do? And if your dad is not going to be responsive, if your dad is inadequate, if your dad, you're using words very carefully. If your dad is inadequate, if your dad is limited, what would you want to do? Because me, I am here for you. Me, I am here strongly and resolute to take care of you. And the child can say, if dad does not want to care, then I am going to walk the journey with you. But when you stop them, you yourself, without them really dealing with it, and if it is difficult, refer them to us, the counselors and psychologists. That's what we are trained to do, to help people to be able to let go and to accept this is not a caring parent, and this is the way I need to relate with a parent. As a parent, when they get to 24 and over, you are a consultant. They come to consult you, even where they had dismissed you. Now you are a proper consultant, and they are going to miss you. But by 85 years, you are a caregiver. This is your child, and you're charting the direction. I have used very light colors. You may not be seeing, but at least you can see this boy, and you may have seen him in certain pictures. And this boy is following some stones that have been charted by the parent, and he is very careful as he's stepping. You have charted the path, and you are putting stepping stones in place for your children or for your child, and the child will follow suit by following the stones. You are training. Remember, we said, do you have a curriculum? You are training. But remember, your child may go through abuse. How many children have been abused? Sexually abused by their carers, the house girls, or even relatives that you keep at home, or even people out there because they are gullible. You didn't help them to have independent thinking, to be able to say, no, you can't. You haven't taught them that there are boundaries. There is an extent that you cannot be, you cannot allow another person to come. You remember the Itube High School, where children, boys, were being coached by the teachers who are laughing hilariously and are monitoring them as they are lying on each other, having a kind of homosexual activity, and they're very excited about it. That is child abuse. But behind every person who has committed an unimaginable crime as an adult is an unimaginable crime now, like the man we are talking about who is a preacher, is an adult who committed an unimaginable violence against them as children. We need to take them to childhood. All of them as if it was plotted that way. Violence begets violence, and that violence begets even more violence. That is what Ji Yang Gong says. And Dr. Royce Hart says, if we don't shape our kids, they are going to be shaped by the outside forces that don't care what shape they are in. If you don't become your friend to your child so that you can shape them, then the world is going to shape them, and the world does not care what shape they are going to be in. I want to finish with this slide. That there are those common problems that children have. They can be irresponsible or disrespectful, or have social difficulties in relationship to others, or they are dishonest or selfish, or they lack self-control, or they become defiant, or they have financial mismanagement, or they have media addictions, or they have sibling rivalry. You need a protocol that is going to help you to be able to parent your children in ways that are going, if they're antisocial, they become social. If they are dishonest, that they can tell you all. If they become dishonest because you slap them when they become dishonest, then that is not a method to use. Listen to your child and hold yourself and allow yourself to be told all those things so that you can mold your child in ways that are going to make them better. Parents need to fill a child's bucket of self-esteem so high that the rest of the world cannot poke enough holes to drain it dry. That is what Irving Price says. And Frank A. Crack says, the most important thing that parents can teach their children is how to get along without them. And I want to repeat that by Frank A. Crack, that the most important thing that you and you know yourself, you can teach your children is how to get along without you, because they can think for themselves, and they can fend for themselves, and they can dress themselves, and they can do a lot of things for themselves. So I finish by this particular statement by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. There are only two lasting endowments that we hope to bequeath our children, and I have explained it in my book. One of these is roots, and the other one is wings. You need them to be well rooted if you are a friend, because you become a friend when you know the needs of your child developmentally, to even when they are going to be old people. Along the way, they need to be rooted, that they cannot be moved or shaken. And the other one is wings, that they can be able to fly, and they can be able to get to destinations that are important for them. I can see that you have asked some questions, and about this teenage girl, I have touched on it, that you can take this child for counseling so that this child can be able to reflect and review. And you may also want to ask yourself whether you are an angry, dejected spouse, so that you too can deal with that, so that you're not projecting it on the child. Every child would want to have a dad and a mom. So they are not doing the outrageous, they're just doing the normal in expecting that they need their daddy. They will know along the way that their daddy is not an efficient daddy, and they are going to leave him alone or mom is not an efficient mom, and they're going to leave her alone. Give more of the parenting activities and what to include in the parents' journal. There are many things you can include. Like, for example, what are your family values that you need to teach your children? And you need to discuss with your children. If, like a child is saying, we are humble, we are a humble family. We have, but we do not step on other people, neither are we condescending. Or emotional balance, or relationship with others, all being hardworking and exemplary workers, becoming business persons, even when we are very small, and that is inculcated to individuals. A reverend of the Anglican Church from All Saints Cathedral is writing a book on bequeathing wealth, or wealth in families, and how that wealth needs to be treated so that it doesn't destroy and it doesn't get lost along the way. And it's quite some work that he has done, which is going to be very useful, even in training us as Kenyans on how to help children to look at property in ways that are healthy, look at vehicles, look at wealth, look at privilege in ways that are healthy, so that they don't get destroyed by such. So everything about children, even how to relate with their extended family members, even how to hold themselves with dignity, how to clean themselves, all the works about human living. Technology needs to be regulated. Like, you cannot watch TV more than 2 hours in a day. Even 2 hours is too much. You need time for creativity, and you can discuss with your children what that means. Our kids access too much technology. Our fear is, if they access the naughtiness internet has of the 21st century, yes, like the pornography, do not act out of fear. Let fear tell you something, that you need to do something in regulating what your children are watching. And the best way to do it is to have a discussion with them on the dangers of internet and pornography, in the many impacts. And like I said, if you feel you do not have it, go for training as a parent. As KIPCO, we have short trainings, 5 days training on effective parenting, or functional parenting, or intentional parenting. It can be 4 days, it can be 3 days, however you want it. And then we can go through motions of more particular things, because for today, I'm just giving highlights. What is your take on spare the Lord and spoil the child? It's a method of parenting, we agree, and especially when you are the commander-in-chief of your children, you use the Lord. But make sure you're not using the Lord to hurt, to injure, to destroy. You use a cane where you can see, like, if a child is closing the Lord just carelessly, you can pull the child and maybe slap a bit to stop that child from doing that. But it is not a remedy that actually helps into the future, because a child can become angry with you, resentful with you. So you change methods, use other methods of parenting your child. Sometimes we say we are going to ground them. If you do what you're doing, I'm going to take away a privilege. So use other methods, don't overuse. I don't remember even using a rod on my children, and I don't think they have gone so badly. So do not use methods that hurt. Do not use methods that are making children feel irrelevant, have low self-esteem, because a cane has potential of doing exactly that. But I'm saying isolated situations can happen. How do we reignite strained and detached relationships with our older parents? you are the one to take the mantle. You are an older parent, things they are parents, and therefore they have earned their right to be parents. And so you who can see how unhealthy it is can talk down about it, can even invite a counselor or a psychologist to look into how do we relate with each other, or even tell the mom and dad we need to relate better. I need to be close to you. You need to know me more, and I need to know you more. I need to hear stories of your childhood. You need to be free with me, mom, and know that I am okay. Please have a season for co-parenting, especially where you have different parenting styles. You can go for parenting session, both of you, even if you don't want to stay together, but for the sake of the friendship you have with your child and what you want them to turn out as, you go for a session so that you can be helped to look into how you parent in a life cycle when you are co-parents. How do we balance? This will be the last one. How do we balance our expectations on performance at teenhood? I think you need to talk to yourself and to talk to your teen, if I'm getting that question right, so that you can be able to appreciate even you when you are a teenager, and how you didn't want your parents to breathe over your neck. And this is a time that we are saying more discussions, more outings, even if you're having a walk. Like if you're near Karura, can you walk with your child and talk through issues so that you can be able to touch on areas that you're concerned with? I must say thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk about a very passionate, you can even hear my voice, even as I'm talking, communicates how passionate I am with parenting, because I have seen enough children being damaged. I've given a lot of case studies in my book, enough children being damaged, though we have provided them with a lot of care according to our understanding, but they come out in ways that shock us, and we can't believe how they have turned out. But you need to be intentional. Intentional means let me be trained. Intentional means let me sit with other parents in a support group. Intention means that I need to listen to my child, and I need to listen to others as they are going through the emotions of parenting. All that is going to be important for you. You cannot try to parent a child just carelessly or irresponsibly. Thank you so much. Offer to you, sign up or.
Thank you, Professor Catherine. That has been very insightful. Could you kindly put on your face for a minute before I ask the last few questions? I have a request from the audience to see you.
I am not allowed. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. So just as have to do justice.
No problem. So I have one of my attendants here. What is your voice on withdrawn teens from everyday's life?
Can you explain that a bit?
That is the question. What is your voice on withdrawn teens from everyday's life? I think she's trying to understand what your suggestion, especially on teens that are withdrawn. You know, those, you know, it reaches a time when the teens withdraw, yeah, from either the parents or friends, or, you know, they just want to be alone. What is your comment on that?
Right, as Justice is doing something so that my face can be seen.
Yeah, just as it's doing something.
Children, yeah, teens do get withdrawn because they are going through something. And it's important for a parent to ask, what are they going through? Because even you yourself, you withdraw because you're going through something. And many a times we are going through something because we are sad, or we are going through something and we are angry. And they may have gone through something in their childhood that they were not able to resolve. And now that they are teenagers and their brains have had bigger capacity, they now realize what happened to them was not okay. It might have been sexual abuse or emotional abuse or even physical abuse or even intellectual abuse or religious abuse like the one that we are witnessing. And therefore the question to ask is, why are you angry? You don't ask that. Or why are you withdrawn? You ask, tell me much more about this withdrawing, because it communicates something. And I need to be there for you so that you can be able to speak more, you can be able to express yourself more. When they are quiet, we might not know what is crossed in there, but when we get them to speak, and if they are not going to speak to you, is there someone else they speak with, so that that particular person is the one who is going to find out what is happening, not so that you can be told, but so that it can be resolved. And if that is not enough, then you can forward the case to us, the professionals. Because if it is not handled now at the adolescents, we see them now picking psychotic conditions or mental health conditions that will last with them for a lifetime. So they need to be resolved. And I'm saying they are withdrawing because they have something. And that something is emotional in nature. They are feeling crossed, they are feeling gagged by the emotions inside them.
Thank you so much, Prof. I believe you can put yourself now on. I don't know if you'll be able, and as you put yourself on, as a coach, how do you deal with strong-willed child who does not take no easily and will throw tantrums to get their way out?
Strong-willed children, and a child can be small because also children are born with personalities. You may come from a family of very strong-willed people, and therefore it is important to know, does it learn in the family, so that you can be able to know how to modulate that or modify that. But a strong-willed child wants to have their way, and the world does not allow us to have our way all the time. So you need to have a program for them that helps them to be able to also allow other people to have a way, to also know that they have to observe the limitations that are there in the world, and they also need to know they coexist with other people, because that coexistence helps other people to prefer them and to accept them and to affirm them and to see their importance in that particular coexistence. So you don't want a child to abort themselves by becoming narcissistic eventually in their lives, because narcissistic individuals think they own the world, and other people have debts that they owe to them, to love them, to care for them, to be providing for them. Yeah, that kind of an individual is not an individual who is able to keep a marriage. It's not an individual who gets promoted. They will get promoted in workplace, but they will crush others. Others will always be complaining about them because they have no idea of empathy, how to communicate empathy to other people. Because they belong, they own the world, and the world belongs to them. So regulating that and helping, and just like I said, if you're not able to do that as a parent, we have professionals who can help you to be able to evaluate and assess and screen and come up with strategies that even the coach can help you so that you can be able to do them at home.
Thank you so much, Prof. Now, I have quite a number who are more concerned with your book, Parenting Guide. They would want to know where can they buy them, how can they get them, can they get them on soft? Maybe you can tell us. And then as you explain on the book, someone is asking if you are able to come up with a talk about marriages. He says marriages are toxic nowadays and they need repair.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually need repair. And I agree with you that I can do that. And regarding my book, it was in, we have it in our institution. Let me first of all say that. And in all our institutions in Thika, and also here in Nairobi, and it was in textbook center. I need to check whether it is still there because sometimes they are off the books, so that we can be able to make sure we take more to textbook center. But we have them here also. And so if you need it and it's not at the textbook center, you can use this number 0723-891-555. That is the number of the institution, and you're going to be sent the book 0723-891-555. Yes,
Thank you.
Zainab,
Thank you, Catherine.
I can, and I know it's an endless topic. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we will be organizing that with you. APA Insurance will pick it up for the person who has requested, and I'm sure most of us on here are requesting for that topic. Apart from the request today, we've had a lot of requests to address toxic marriages. So we will be picking up with Professor Catherine, and we will plan to have it. We'll let you know soonest possible when we can have the topic, because currently we are having a lot of challenges on the same. So to our audience, I have one who has asked for the session. Are they for parents and children, separate or all together? This session was meant for parents. That is why we titled it Parenting in the 21st Century. So we will be looking at toxic marriages maybe in another 1 or 2 months. So just keep on so that we'll keep you updated. I'm being told, please make it as soon as possible. Yeah, APA Insurance will try to make it as soon as possible so that we can assist our viewers. Okay. Kindly,
Yes, and
if you have any
even the ones that come for counseling to us, sometimes we even take them through parenting. If they think that they have a parenting challenge, we do. The ones that have been coming to us, and I must appreciate that they choose us and they have confidence in us.
Thank you, Catherine. Probably you can just repeat where you are located for our viewers, because I have many of them asking where can they get the counseling sessions on the screen. Maybe you can just confirm and give us a bit about your TIPCO Institute.
Yeah. We do online. I know that we have arranged with sign up that we can do online, but you can also come to Southern House opposite Meridian Best Western Hotel, where we are at the 5th floor, or even in Thika, I said opposite Gatumaine Primary School as you're going to Chania High School. Or even in Kiambu as you're going to a place called Kirigiti after Kist, but you can tell us where you are so that we can be able to respond appropriately. But I've said even online we do.
Thank you, Professor Catherine. A lot of questions that are coming in regards to the counseling, and people would want to come over for counseling. Kindly, you can drop your emails to cdm.wellness@apainsurance.org, and we are putting the same email on the chat, or you can give us a call or drop a WhatsApp on 0720 600 577 0720 600 577, and we will be able to connect you to Professor Catherine on the same as we plan to have toxic marriages. Yes, Catherine?
Another number for mentorship, we are having a mentorship program. That's what I've been told by Beth here. And you can link her so that you can be included in that mentorship program. It can be an evening program for the ones that are not able to do it during the day. And she can also communicate on when during the day we are running it. 0723 632 394 0723 632 394 for mentorship program for your children, but also for parenting programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Catherine. We were really humbled to have you this morning. I know given a chance, we would want to have you until late in the evening, but we have to go back and work. And to our viewers, we are humbled and honored that you are able to make time to join us today at APA Insurance. Our slogan is APA Insurance. We insure happiness, and we are happy when you are happy. So welcome to the home of happiness. We will be looking forward to having toxic marriages. I've seen that request, and I've seen the requests are very many. So be on the lookout, be our guests. You can communicate to us on the email address given, on the WhatsApp given. Other than that, I want to appreciate Professor Catherine for your time. I know it has taken quite a lot for you to be present this morning. I appreciate our viewers. I want to wish you a lovely weekend ahead. Take care, and may God bless you. With me and Justice Monene is always on the back seat supporting us. With Rehab, as a team, we want to appreciate each and everybody, and may God bless you.